Kezia Dugdale.
Thank you. Can I add the heartfelt condolences of these benches to everyone affected by the events at Grenfell Tower. Once again, we find ourselves in awe of the heroics of the emergency services. I think we all looked on with horror, anger and dismay and share a collective desire to make sure that everything that can be done is being done to prevent future tragedies like this. And in that spirit, I strongly urge the First Minister to listen to the concerns of the Fire Brigades Union. Can I ask the First Minister what engagement she has planned for the rest of the week?
First Minister.
Engagement to take forward the Government's programme for Scotland.
Kezia Dugdale.
In last week's election, voters sent the First Minister a clear message to focus on what really matters to people. The First Minister still pretends that education has always been her top priority. But we all know that her government has presided over 4,000 fewer teachers, whilst class sizes are up. Scotland is falling down international league tables and parents are being asked to fill in the classroom. And while she has taken her eye off the ball, we've had college lecturers on strike and now even teachers are threatening industrial action. The First Minister can't blame negative media coverage for this. Why is it always someone else's fault and never hers?
First Minister.
Well, I have to say, on that, with the greatest respect, Kezia Dugdale is talking nonsense. This government, as will be demonstrated when the Deputy First Minister outlines to Parliament this afternoon the next stage in our education reform programme, we take full responsibility for making sure that we equip our education system to raise standards and close the attainment gap. That's why we have in place the new National Improvement Framework. That's why we have in place the new Attainment Fund, including the Pupil Equity Fund that has put £120 million directly into the hands of head teachers. This afternoon, the Deputy First Minister will outline the outcome of the governance review, which will include steps to make sure that we have a school system that puts schools, teachers, head teachers and pupils absolutely at the centre of the system. Kezia Dugdale's raised the important issue also of the recent college dispute, and that gives me the opportunity to set out my clear expectations on that. Agreement was reached on the 19th of May that allowed the strike to be called off, and that was extremely welcome. Discussions have continued since then around some outstanding issues. However, I am very clear that what was agreed on the 19th of May now needs to be fully implemented. I spoke to the chair of the Employers Association yesterday. The Employers Association will meet again on Monday and be asked to ratify the agreement already reached, including payment of the first instalment of the cash settlement. And I hope and expect that that ratification will take place on Monday and that any further prospect of strike action is removed completely.
Kezia Dugdale.
See, the problem for the First Minister is that this week the EIS union revealed what teachers really think about Scotland's education system. Their workload has increased and fewer than half would recommend teaching as a career. There is a recruitment crisis with hundreds of vacancies, some of which will take up to 3 years to fill. And new figures reveal that teachers are receiving up to £6,000 less than they should if their pay had risen in line with inflation. It is little wonder that teachers are saying enough is enough. What will the First Minister say to teachers who are struggling in our schools? And can I suggest that sorry might be a good place to start?
First Minister.
Well, what we will continue to do is what we are doing, investing with local authorities to make sure that we maintain teacher numbers, putting more resources into the hands of head teachers to equip them to better respond to challenges they face in the schools. The Deputy First Minister will continue to work to take the action to reduce unnecessary workload on the part of teachers. That's why the SQA and Education Scotland are already reducing and clarifying the guidance they provide to teachers. Education Scotland has already published clear advice for teachers and on what they should and shouldn't be expected to do in the classroom. Definitive benchmark guidance on literacy and numeracy has already been published. In fact, benchmarks for all the curriculum areas have now been published, replacing a much larger volume of existing material. So we will continue to get on with responding to the challenges that we do face by taking the action that we are taking. That's what responsible governments are expected to do, and that is what this government will continue to do.
Kezia Dugdale.
I think that response from the SNP backbenches never has the First Minister sounded so out of touch with the reality on the ground. And the truth is, the First Minister has taken teachers for granted for years. And now they are threatening strike action just to get John Swinney to sit up and pay attention. Because, of course, the SNP's answer to this crisis is to send untrained teachers into our classrooms, to introduce league tables and high-stakes testing into primary schools, and she has even flirted with opt-out schools. Each and every one a failed Tory policy. Doesn't this just prove, First Minister, that if you vote SNP, you get Tory?
First Minister.
From the leader who actually advised some people in Scotland to vote Tory. That's a bit rich. And no wonder Kezia Dugdale is blushing right now. But let's get back to the serious matters. Firstly, you know, it's simply not sufficient for Kezia Dugdale just to come here and make it up as she goes along. There is no question whatsoever of untrained teachers being in schools in Scotland, and John Swinney will set out the position of the government on all aspects of the governance review later this afternoon. But we will continue to get on with the job of reforming and investing in Scottish education, extra money to help teachers with the job that they do, the reforms that are necessary to ensure improvements in our schools, and also to ensure that politicians are held much more to account because of the greater transparency we are introducing into the system. And what is striking again today, as it has been so often in the past in this chamber, is that whenever we come forward with policies and ideas and initiatives to address these challenges, all Labour does is oppose them. They never bring forward any constructive ideas of their own, which is probably why, presiding officer, for the first election, general Westminster election in living memory, Labour came third. That's the reality of Labour in Scotland today as the SNP continues to get on with the job.